3 or 4 game losing streaks, not the 5, 6, or 7. As long as they avoid those, they're going to be fine. But to give the direct answer to your question, I think it's still about 88 or 89 wins. I would say would give you a really, really good chance to win the AL Central. I don't believe the Guardians are winning 98.
So you think it's pretty close to what the win total was last year?
Yeah, I don't think that the Guardians and Royals are both winning 95-plus games. I think both level out.
No, I think that's probably fair. Again, I think it might be in the 90s now because, again, I did do the math real quick. Royals are on pace for 101 wins after losing back-to-back. By the way, they were up to like 106 or whatever. Before that, the Guardians are on pace for 107 wins. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, no, I don't think that all of a sudden the Guardians are going to win 107 games, which has given them the best record in the American League last year. I just don't think that that's going to hold up over time. But look, that stands for both teams. In the end, the good news is for the Royals, that is, how do you get to 90? Like, what record do you need to be to get to 90? You're at 34 wins right now? Okay. I can do the simple math. You need to play a few games above 500, 8 games above 500. You don't have to play 40 games above 500. I don't have to make up math that just won't exist or doesn't exist across the board. I do think you're right in the sense that it is hard sometimes when you do care about the games again to not overreact to a loss. But I've decided that fans generally fall into 2 big camps. There is either, like for the most part, like to some of you that like go with the ebbs and the flows and like, it was a rough couple of games, and I could still point out the last 4 starts for Waka are very good for the Royals and things are pointing in a good direction, even though he gave up a couple of runs in this game. But typically you fall into 2. Either they're on an 8-game winning streak and you're still pointing out to me how somebody pitched bad in the 8th inning and how it's all going to crumble. And the second that they lose those 2 games, you're on the horn with me being like, I told you, the world is falling. I told you a couple days ago when they were winning their 7th consecutive game, things didn't look right and they'd turn eventually. Or you're the internal optimist, which is a more fun side to be on. Generally, it falls in your face sometimes, which is, I don't care that they lost 2 games in a row. I just watched them win 8 out of 10 if I want to look at it positively.
Correct. And look, it's fun just having friends text you again after Royals games or during Royals games. It's been multiple years since anybody bothered to waste their time on a Sunday to text me about the Royals. So that part's nice. Like I'm laughing because what you said is exactly what happened, though. A friend of mine texted me as the Royals were looking like they were going to lose yesterday, and they ultimately did. We all know they had to come back in the 9th inning, or tried to come back in the 9th inning. But when they were down, 6-1, said, I feel like someone texted me, I feel like we're about to hit a little skid. Like, that loss meant they lost 2 in a row. Like, it's just funny how quickly people are willing to shift back into the team's not good mindset.
Do you know the last time they lost 3 in a row, by the way?
I don't.
April 29th.
And that's why they've been able to be 12-plus games above 500. They avoid the long losing streaks. And 3 is not a long losing streak, but they've been avoiding those. And the one thing you can always point to is the starting pitching. When you have the starting pitching, you have multiple stoppers in your rotation that prevent the thing from getting out of hand. And it sucks that, the time where they lost 2 in a row is the divisional game and not to not to another opponent or whatever. And they've lost 1 now to the Twins. I guess not even 2 in a row in the division. So if they win today, they'll avoid doing that. So, yeah, I think everybody can still pump the brakes a little bit. Doesn't mean there's not flaws. We've talked about them. I think
plenty of them.
We'll talk about Michael Massey's injury here in about 20 minutes or so, and now what that does to the lineup after 1 through 4. It's really concerning now.
Yeah,
and the pressure you're putting on even more so than already, Bobby and Salvi and Michael and
guys who haven't performed like Nelson Velasquez, like guys who you're going to need to rely on.
Because Michael Massey in May, I think, had the most RBI of anybody on their team.
He had a historically good month at second base in particular. But yeah, he was a really good player. And that is someone we're going to have to figure out moving forward. But like, the next 19 games are obviously incredibly important. We had mentioned the June schedule for a reason. You've got 3 more against the Twins, and then you take on the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Guardians and a million other difficult opponents over the course of that stretch. But I would take 10-9. I'd probably take. I'd take 9 and 10. 9 and 10. What's the lowest you take? You'd be like, that was fine.
Yeah, 10 and 9. Of course, I'd take. I mean,
would you take 7 and 12?
No,
I don't want to lock that in.
No, I don't want to lock. Yeah, definitely don't want to
8-11 though.
Don't want to lock that in. But I mean, if you told me they went 8 and 11, I wouldn't be panicking or anything. No. I think Vern this morning, I was driving in and he was talking with Bob and Josh, and he threw out. Let's say they even went 5 and 15, like dreadful. which this team hasn't given us any indication that that's what. Yeah. But let's say they did, and he still said, I think they'd be 4 games. He did the math on it quick. It was like 4 games above 500. So, no, I mean, I would just, you can't go 500 in 19 games, but during the 20-game stretch of all playoff teams, if it's close to 500 as it gets. Yeah, when you've built yourself a cushion, even if you go 500 over the next 20, you're fine. It's all right. The Guardians are not just going to win 115 games, guys. It's going to be like they will eventually lose as well. They did lose yesterday, as you said. The one scary thing is, as you pointed out, they've been without Shane Bieber all year, and they're still winning. Jose Ramirez is always Jose Ramirez. Stephen Kwan
said, "I'm better than Barry Bonds after a game."
Stephen Kwan's been hurt. He's coming back, I think, this week or next week. So that's the only tricky thing. They've been winning without those pieces, but I don't believe the winner of the AL Central is winning 105 games.
Do you realize how few people won 100 games last year?
Like what? Like 3 teams?
Braves won 104. Dodgers won 100. And remember what those teams are spinning versus what the Guardians are spinning. The Orioles won 101. End of list. End of list. Yeah. So like 90 games, the number we talk about we think might take to win the Central. There were only 4 teams in the entire American League last year who won 90 games. So you trying to tell me that it's way more than 90 now that's winning the Central? It's not. Yeah. Both of these teams are going to go through a losing streak. Both of these teams are going to go through, they lost they won 5 games in a 12, 14 game stretch. And it's going to feel like the end of the world in the moment, but it's not going to maintain that.
While you're bringing up to win 90 plus, so the Royals plus 175 to win 90 or more games. The Guardians minus 156.
Wow, so they definitely think they're getting more than 90.
And that's probably why you won't be surprised when I tell you to win the Central. The Guardians are minus 110. The Royals and Twins have the exact same odds.
Plus 400 or something?
Plus 280 to win the AL Central.
A little worse than I thought.
Well, not only could 90 win the division, but last year 2 teams had 90 and another team had 89 that made the playoffs. So you could conceivably make the playoffs even if you won 88.
They're in a great spot for the wild card.
Yeah.
They're in a great spot.
Yeah, the early standings on that. And again, we're about, a third of the way through the season, so there's still...
We're almost to Memorial Day. A lot of time. Still not there, though.
A lot of time left in that. I take solace in some of the...
June, I'm sorry.
Looking at what the Royals are spending, and they're just as good as the Dodgers. By the way, do you think the Dodgers, who have lost 5 games in a row, do you think the Dodgers are like, oh, God, we're screwed?
No, I mean, look at the Astros, who are playing a lot better. But once we get to June...
I already buried them. I'm sorry. I eliminated them from the postseason.
You're already done with them.
Don't you remember? Like 2 weeks ago. I eliminated them forever ago.
Kyle Tucker, the way he's playing, they'll be just fine. But no, when we get to June, then I think you start to even get a clearer picture. But we're almost there.
Royals have a better run differential. I was watching over OTAs last week, and just like Pete Sweeney's article, right? He'll send out the Arrowhead Premier article and be like, hey, the things that actually matter in OTAs. I'm like, all right, Pete, at least tell me, because I don't know which things mattered or don't matter based on the way that this thing went. One of the things he had said had mattered, and I saw other people tweet about, is that Hollywood Brown and Patrick Mahomes seem to have an instant connection. So as team, pump your brakes on people just get better the second they show up in Kansas City, as there hasn't been really any statistical evidence to support that in the early times here of Patrick Mahomes and 6 or 7 years in. What are the odds you think Hollywood Brown is like a 1,200-yard receiver? That he has that best season of his career, that he is top tier, top flight, one of the top 25 producing receivers in the NFL. Because to me, that's when this storyline becomes the big deal that they're connected. It doesn't matter to me that they're connected if he rolls in and gets 900 yards. He should get 900 yards. He's paid like a wide receiver should get 950, maybe flirting with 1,000-yard. What would it take for him to be 1,250 in that range, in that mark? And I think it's like a 10% chance still.
Well, I think it matters because you might be without Rashee Rice, of course,
that makes it easier
for a period of time this upcoming season. So that relationship, that rapport, I'll go back to the comments from a couple of months ago from Patrick Mahomes when you said the one thing that kind of surprised him about Hollywood Brown was his route running, maybe an underrated part, that he's a better route runner than he even thought he was. And that's a huge development if that's the case. 1,200 yards, though, I mean, I think when we've gone through it before and the company that puts you in, even in an extended NFL season, I don't know if he gets to 1,200. I would still say it's probably like a 15% chance that Hollywood Brown's a 1,200-yard receiver for this team. If you think Travis Kelce can still be Travis Kelce and he's healthy going into the season, and Travis is an 1,100-yard guy, they don't even need Hollywood Brown to be a 1,200-yard guy to still be one of the top 5 offenses in football. Not many teams have 2 guys over 1,200 yards receiving in a given year. The one thing you like, though, for Hollywood Brown is all the motivation is there. I mean, there's not even a question about that. One, he's on a team that has a chance to three-peat, but for him individually, he can get a massive contract. If he even just has a 1,000-yard season, there's big-time money waiting for him next February and March. Maybe not in Kansas City, but there's money somewhere. If he goes out and proves he can be healthy for 90% of the season, plays in 14, 15-plus games at least.
Ton of money.
Right? And has a really nice season and has the stage that Kansas City provides you from an NFL perspective these days and all these prime windows and maybe another deep playoff run, hopefully in the Super Bowl again. There's a ton of money there. So I think the motivation, the work ethic, all of that is going to be there. You're not even questioning that. Nobody will when it comes to Hollywood Brown. But 1,200 yards, I mean, that's a tall ask. And I'm usually pretty optimistic on wide receiver production heading into a season.
Sure.
1,000? Yeah, I think 1,000's I'd probably put that at a 40% chance or something like that. But 1,200, it's 10 or 15%.
Yeah. I like that they have a good rapport, and it's clear that they're after the deep ball. That was something Dusty and I had talked about last Thursday. It was obvious that this team is in seeking the deep ball again, which is important. And obviously, I would like that to be a part of their offense game. But 1,200 yards just feels like to say they've got rapport. If he has 950 yards this season, it'd be like, I mean, they have rapport, but no more than him and Juju Smith-Schuster did, right? I mean, he's on the field. If he gets 950 yards, part of with Holly Brown, he's on the field, which is big.
I think a lot of the topic or conversation around him too is that. And fairly this is the year for him to get a big contract, and he's going to go out. So are we sure that the Chiefs pony up the money? I don't know what it would be, but are we sure that the Chiefs wouldn't pony up the money? Is like, say if he does have 1,100 yards this year, and you've got Xavier Worthy and you've got Rasheed, you don't even need to really address the wide receiver room more. I mean, that is like your need is solidified, I guess, in having him.
It depends on the dollar amount, obviously. I mean, I'm not saying they wouldn't be interested in keeping him I
wonder what it would cost.
But it depends on it depends on what the production is. I mean, if we're sitting here halfway through the season and he's already got 600 yards or something, then people are going to be talking about him being one of the most solid. I mean, if let's say he ends up being, and I haven't looked at the 20
free agent, but it's been pretty bleak lately.
So I have no idea who else is slated to become free agents. But let's say he has a chance to be one of the number one or number two best available. Yeah, he's. I mean, look at some of the wide receiver money. You're talking 3-4 year deal. He's young enough for big time money. I think the Chiefs would be interested. I don't know if they would pony up. We've gone through the history at the wide receiver spot. They typically have not paid that position in big time money wise in free agency, even if it's a homegrown guy. So it also there's so many factors. I'm not trying to not answer the question, but do they get a deal done with Nick Bolton this offseason? Does Creed Humphrey get a deal? Do they decide to keep Trey Smith? All of that is going to play into what they can do next offseason and in a problem. It's a good problem to have, obviously, if he ends up having a great year and fans are saying, got to bring him back. Hopefully that's the case.
Depends on what Xavier Worthy does. If Xavier Worthy's rookie year is 750 yards and Rashee Rice ideally wouldn't be starting the following season with a suspension and doesn't get in trouble, well, then you might just be like, Worthy and Rice are our moves.
Yeah.
We couple that and we start looking for the tight end to follow up with Travis Kelce.
The Rice part, if there's other problems, would be one that could maybe factor into that. Like if all of a sudden they just don't even have, let's say he has another issue and you just don't even have him, then you really can't count on him at all. Then does that make it more likely? But let's see what Brown does. I mean, I think he is going to have a very nice season. 1,200 yards is. We're talking, if he gets 1,200, Drew, to answer your question, then I would be willing to bet quite a bit that he would not be in Kansas City beyond next year because I think the dollar amount would be astronomical.
They didn't even pay Juju Smith-Schuster, and they tried.
Well, Juju's knees were falling apart.
Yeah. But they were talking to him at least.
Yeah. And to the chemistry point, it's not just OTAs. I mean, Hollywood's out there hanging out with Pat Mahomes at the Mavs playoff game with Travis and everything like that. It sounds like they've got a really good rapport.
Nice courtside seats. Take advantage of those. Hollywood Brown and Mahomes get you the courtside seats, and you hang out with Travis as well. Seems like a pretty good offseason.
I'm going to assume that a huge chunk of these are not available in the free agency pool. Right now, the free agency pool wide receiver looks great. Justin Jefferson, probably not going to hit free agency. CeeDee Lamb, probably not going to hit free agency. Brandon Ayuk, probably not going to hit free agency. Might be traded. Nico Collins, T. Higgins, those guys could be out there. Chris Godwin, or is this an old article? Didn't he just sign a? Maybe he didn't.
You're thinking of Evans, maybe.
Yeah, Godwin.
Chris Godwin's getting a little bit older, too, yeah.
Hollywood Brown, Amari Cooper, and Keenan Allen.
So a bunch of older guys. Older, but okay. Something to keep an eye on.
Better than last year's crop.
True.
This year's crop.
But we also thought Mike Evans and Michael Pittman Jr. might have been available this year, and they ended up staying. So it depends on who actually retains.
Like, I'll be honest, I don't think CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, and Justin Jefferson are just going to be walking the street next year. I don't think they're all going to be like, you know what?
Probably not.
We don't even want to franchise tag you. Be free. There's continues to be, like, one of the guys, Ayuk and Justin Jefferson, constantly have trade rumors around them. Like, is one of them eventually going to get?
Yes.
I mean, because, like,
Yes.
they both reek of trade rumors all the time. The most recent one on Jefferson was they were trying to do a draft day trade to get Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, they want to trade all the way up. They want to trade all the way up.
Man, Justin Jefferson in the division, that I would not have liked that.
No. We're not.
You're good with them having neighbors instead.
Yeah.
I know what Justin Jefferson. What are the odds Malik Neighbors is as good as Justin Jefferson? 5%. I mean, even just based on wide receivers taken in the top 10 of the draft, 5% maybe.
Yeah,
I'll take those chances.
And the Chargers ended up getting Ladd McConkey, right? Yeah. So he can end up being a nice player, but he's not going to be Justin Jefferson. And I know that.
Yeah,
pretty sure.
And it's not like he's Devontae Adams with Gardner Minshew throwing him the ball. It would have been Herbert, which that obviously.
We also got great news yesterday. And honest to God, this must hurt as a person to hear this for them. We got great news last night. As of today, Angel Hernandez is gone.
About time.
I can't think of how many times on this show and a million other shows just like this time we have begged for the moment that Angel Hernandez would walk away from baseball and no longer mess up these games so bad that we're being forced to talk about him regularly as an MLB umpire. He announced he's walking away to spend more time, and I thought for a second, people hated you so much at your job that the day you announced your retirement, that it was just a party in the streets? Did you see a single person being like,
he's united everybody against him. That's hard to do.
Sacrificing himself.
Right. He brought everybody together from all across the country. Nobody's been able to do that but Angel Hernandez because of how bad he's been at his job. Every fan base has a moment, a particular at-bat, maybe they remember in a key moment where a player on their team got screwed because Angel Hernandez decided just to not pay attention or be bad at his job that particular day, and not just randomly, on a consistent basis. It's a great thing for baseball that Angel Hernandez is out. Remember, he sued the league a couple years ago. I can't remember if it got thrown out or whatever, but he sued the league. And now I wonder if this actually is a sign. If we start to see more turnover at the umpire position, is it more likely that we get to the robot?
we just got rid of Joe West last year.
Right,
we are really cruising.
We get to the robot ump, which will still have real umps, but maybe there'll be more of a willingness for the league to shift to that when you get some of the old guard out of there. That has been a big reason, by the way. Angel Hernandez is a big reason why people want us to see the radar strike zone essentially from robot umps.
Yes, obviously, because when you go back through and obviously everybody was putting together the threads of Angel Hernandez, and you're just like, it's incredible. He threw out 3 Royals players in the same inning. There's calls that are 4 feet outside the plate. I assume you saw the bad news on the robot umps, said their technology is not up to it yet. So it's highly
Angel
unlikely.
Hernandez hasn't been up to it for 20 years.
Highly unlikely we're going to get it in 2025.
It can't be any it can't be any worse than what Angel Hernandez was doing out there.
It's just, and honestly, you know what it is? It's not just the screwing up. It's the ego to go with it. Everyone messes up at their job. I repeat we screw things up. Things don't work. Everyone screws up at their job all the time. It happens constantly, okay? It is the ego to not accept the fact that you've done it and instead start asking people to leave. Like let's just use the repeat as an example. You say something and I said the exact same thing back and you're like, hey, you repeated me. I said, shut up, Alex. Get the hell out of here. Leave this bill. Don't call me out on that. Nobody even had to know. And now that you've called me out, I don't even want to work with you anymore. Get out of this building. That's no good. Be cool about it. People make mistakes.
Yeah, he doubled down. He would always double down.
Triple down. It was nuts.
And he's not the only one. He's just the one that, is kind of in the face of this. We all know, even this year, the couple sequences where umps openly admitted, were caught on mic, on Mic'd Up, basically saying, like, I don't care that I was wrong. You're still out of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a problem. That was
like, I
Aaron
didn't say it.
Boone
He's
thing.
like, I don't care.
Who was that ump? What was his name? Do you remember?
Was that CB Buckner? I don't know.
Maybe so.
If I know your name,
it's not a good
you are
thing.
not good at your job.
Not a good thing.
I should not know any
as an umpire or an
names.
official. Yes.
Yeah. And
Official, sometimes it's because you're like weirdly buff or something, right?
Hockey,
or
back
do
in the
like
day.
specific. I might know you for a different. That's not a baseball thing. I've never been like, look at that. They're always in like gear and stuff. It's different.
Angel Hernandez household name, so this is a good thing. It's a good thing that he's out of the picture. Do we know why he's choosing just like now? Like,
it said he wanted to spend more time with his family.
Right. 2 months ago, before the season started, you could have let somebody else have that opportunity already.
It is
instead
weird
of
that he
quitting mid-season.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't think that's ever happened before.
He probably just got tired of all the smoke. Could you imagine if every day you went into your job, people just bitched about just every single day? I couldn't do it. And I'm not that thin-skinned. I couldn't do it.
32 years he was a ump, right?
His base salary, $400,000. That's, by the way, there's your. You wonder how can you? There's your answer, Cody. $400,000 a year. The increase to $430,000 when you reach 30 years of service.
I take it back, by the way. If everyone wanted to hate me at this job and just say mean things about me all the time, but they pay me $400,000 a year, I'll stay here forever. You
It's
can say
a lot
whatever
easier,
you want about me.
A lot easier to stomach when you're making $400,000 or more. You can handle the heat. He definitely did. All right, coming up next, though, we'll continue talking about the Royals. We'll get back into them in particular. One thing that's happening because we're in Kansas City, and I agree with you on this one, Cody. That's next.
Hey, it's Brady Singer. You're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
The NBA playoffs have tipped off, but it's not too late to get in on the action with FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to use on same-game parlays, live bets, championship futures, and so much more. There's no better place to bet all of the playoff action than on America's #1 sportsbook. Just go to FanDuel.com/610Bob to get started. That's FanDuel.com/610Bob. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. With summer fast approaching, you're going to want to look your best at the pool and lake. And back in November, I was nowhere near ready for either. I was sluggish, my workouts weren't great, and I was carrying around extra weight. I stopped by Supplement Superstores and told them I wanted to lose 10 to 15 pounds. Almost a half year later, I'm down close to 30 pounds and feeling great. There isn't a day that goes by where someone doesn't tell me how good I look. And I'm not going to lie, it's an amazing feeling. Since that November day when I walked into the Ward Parkway location of Supplement Superstores, I've dropped weight, improved my workouts, and have more energy now than ever before. I'm using the Flashpoint Complex. It's a refreshing drink in the morning when I wake up that gives me sustained energy all day long without the jitters. Then, right before bed, I have another refreshing drink that helps me recover from the day and helps me sleep better than ever before. So when you're ready, stop into any of the 8 Kansas City area Supplement Superstores and tell them I sent you. You'll get 20% off the Flashpoint Complex. Supplement Superstores, when you're ready to feel your best. Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team sell well over 100 homes per year in Kansas City. And that's why if I needed to sell my home, Dawn Sharp would be the only agent I would trust. Dawn and her team are selling homes for top dollar all over the metro. If you used another agent and aren't seeing the results, let Dawn and her team take over. The Sharp Homes team spends thousands of marketing dollars each month to attract more buyers, which increases demand and sells homes faster for the most money possible. Check them out at homesforsaleInKC.com or just Google Sharp Homes Team.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org. and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Check engine light on your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly.
Get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, switch and keep your phone. We'll pay it off up to $800.
Via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device credit service and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com.
Seasons change. Why not your tech? Upgrade now during the Dell Technologies Summer Sale event and save on select PCs like the XPS 16 powered by Intel Core processors. You'll be able to bring your most intensive projects to life with built-in AI, minimalistic design, immersive visuals, and cinematic audio. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics plus free shipping on everything. Amazing prices await you for a limited time only at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com.
Wow, honey, have you seen the electric bill?
Yeah, it's out of control. But have you heard of Navien tankless water heaters?
Tankless? How does that even work?
Well,
Compact wall-hung units free up floor space, lower energy bills, longer life than tanks, and a 15-year warranty. Find out more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Paid for by govmint.com.
Have you heard? A recent stash of 1881 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1881S silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck. Only a limited quantity of these Morgan silver dollar coins are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call Government at 1-800-386-7195 and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1881S Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic S mint mark of the San Francisco Mint. But with limited quantity, you